and I was going to ask you about that. S Club Juniors, what is that like then? Because you're in like, I don't know. I always think, what would that be like now with, you know, your TikToks and your Instagrams and stuff like that?
Oh, awful.
Also, what, like, doing Top of the Pops, yeah, that age, like, what is that like? What is it like? Because are people really dancing in real time? Because there's one thing I always wanted to go.
What do you mean, the audience?
Yeah, because I always wanted to go on Top of the Pops as a kid because it looked like you'd be like, oh wow, you know, everyone's dancing and you're like, cool, I'm gonna enjoy this and I'm gonna turn around and then someone else is performing there, and then obviously you realise once you start doing.
Thought about
Yeah,
it.
no, man.
There was me. I just wanted to be on what is it where you came through the things tonight? I'm gonna be.
What's
God,
tonight,
we're useless,
Matthew?
aren't we?
I'm gonna be
What's it called?
Stars in Their
Stars
Eyes.
in Their Eyes.
Sensational television, man.
That was thinking of
Yes,
like, what my aim was. That was my aim, but I was like no one. I couldn't impersonate no one. I looked like no one. I was like, I could never think of anyone like I could have been.
Yeah.
So you were,
Stars in
well,
Their
this
Eyes.
is difference in us. You were
No, don't
obviously
get me
a
wrong.
bit cooler. You were Top of the Pops in the audience. I
No.
was trying to be like.
I wanted to go on Stars in Their Eyes, but I knew I was limited to who I could really be as a star. Do you know what I mean? I was limited to. There's only a couple. I was like, yeah, probably Mr. Bombastic Shaggy. Do you know what I mean? I don't really. Yeah, like in terms of songs that I really knew and I could come out and I'm like, do you know what I used to love about Stars in Their Eyes is that like, it was like. You know, there was a time of TV that was so carefree and people took it so serious. Like, well, yeah, you know, like I work in like a factory and I make sausage rolls. You know what I mean? And it's like one of my best jobs. And it was so,
a big moment.
But people were so serious. And they're like, so who are you going to be? And you get this guy and he was like, yeah, you know, tonight I'm going to be one of my favourite stars. I absolutely love him. I'm going to be Mick Hucknall. And you're like, rah. And he'd come out and he'd be so good. He's like... Oh man,
and
sensational
just
television.
Sausage rolls on the,
yeah, man. It
exactly.
wasn't like I think like that was the era of TV that was like carefree before you know your X Factors and Pop Idols where it was like if I do this thing and I come out of it, I can be a star whether I'm good or not. But yeah, sensational television, man. But Top of the Pops, I always wanted to go on Top of the Pops because it looked like wow, you get to watch 4 performances in one day, and. You know, you've got everyone there, like Zoe Ball and Reggie Yates are there, and yeah. But what was that like for you during that kind of period of your younger life?
It was like a real Top of the Pops was quite. I remember our first time we went on. It was so stressful because obviously back in the day, like I don't know, I'll probably get in trouble for this. Back in the day, you could get away with miming, right? Like there was like 8 kids.
Of course. Yeah.
No one really
but
sang live.
everyone knew that. Yeah. Everyone knew that. Yeah.
And like everyone could sing, but that and dancing, whatever. So like Top of the Pops, we had to sing live, and I feel like the producers did it because, and I can't remember the guy at the time, and I've spoken about this actually recently about Top of the Pops. He fucking hated us.
Oh, is
like he did not want us on
man.
there because we were not cool. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were like 8 kids prancing around. I mean, dependent on who you were. So like, but if you're in the top 10, you have to be on Top of the Pops.
Yeah, of course.
And we were number 2 like so many times. Man. And he was fuming to have us there. And I can remember like we were all there, all head to toe in our like denim outfits and with our sign on our back and whatever. And obviously we're all like about like 10, 12, 13 or whatever. And there's all these like grown adults around us like dancing along. And I just remember the pressure on that day was like really high. And like we never really got put under a lot of pressure. But that was scary because we knew that was a really big moment.
Yeah, of course.
But as time went on, every time we went back on, even as a kid, I just loved it because I knew how annoying it was for everyone else there. It's just like we're here, like we're doing well enough to be here, so you've just got to like put up with it.
When you was in school, was you like famous in school? Does that make sense? Like, was you like popular in school because you was in S Club Juniors?
Yeah, so like when we first started, so like S Club Juniors for me was like the first audition that I'd ever got the part.
Oh,
like
wow.
I'd been on loads of auditions. Like I was that kid that always like got down to the final 2 or final 3 for like the main part as like Annie or whatever in theatre, and I never got the part. And then, so this was like the first thing that I went to, and I actually had no idea what it was for. We were told it was like to perform one night with S Club 7 at Wembley Arena, and that was it. And then once we'd got in, they were like, oh, actually, we want to turn it into a pop group. So we celebrated by having a McDonald's on the way home, like any 12-year-olds. Can we have a McDonald's, Mum? Like having no idea that like my life was about to change. So before like we got really successful, we'd do like 2 weeks at school, 2 weeks at work, 2 weeks at school, like back and forth. And like I'd have some teachers that were awesome about it, and some that were like fuming every time I came back. Like my RE teacher used to just give me so much shit. And then it was weird. Like I'd go back to school, and people started to know who I was and what I was doing, and but like really good. Like all my mates now are still my friends from school.
Oh, wow.
Like I'm still friends with all my mates from school, and actually I think that's been a really big part of how I've like managed to have a normal life and stay normal and whatever, because they keep you grounded, those schoolmates, don't you?
Man, 100%.
They really like to do that, you know.
Yes.
So like, you know, I'd have buses of my mates from school come to like Wembley Arena to like watch the shows and stuff like that. So like, but it was weird, and then eventually once we became like fully successful, I left school. So I think I was at school on and off in like year 7. And then by the time I got to like second year of secondary school, I was like fully homeschooled, like while we were working.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we'd like do schoolwork on the tour bus while we were on tour. Or like we did a TV show in Barcelona, so you'd be like ready to film a scene, sat doing my schoolwork, they'd pull me out, do a scene, then come back and finish my maths GCSE or whatever. When I think about it now, it's mad, but like I think when you're a kid, like life is life. Do you know what I mean? You don't really overthink it.
Yeah, and I guess the difference is if you was in that mold now, like is, you know, a 14-year-old that's in a pop group and you're performing at you know, big shows at like Wembley Stadium, you already have like the internet and you can see what it's like and who's performing, who's on the lineup and stuff. Whereas I guess you don't have much of that information at your disposal during that age because it didn't really exist. Do you know what I mean? And
I genuinely feel really grateful for that. Like I had no idea whether you liked my hair, if you liked our single, if you thought I was not nice, or if someone knew me at school and thought I was a bit of an idiot or whatever. Like I had none of that. So I was like oblivious. So I just literally got to do what I loved every day.
Yeah.
I didn't have to go to school, even though I did schoolwork. And like for me, that was it. As a kid of that age, you're like, great, don't have to go to school, get to dance and sing every day. Like we didn't think everyone loved us in like a big-headed way, but you're like, yeah, everyone thinks we're cool. Like this is good, you know.
Well, yeah, you lot S Club Juniors. Do you know what I mean? You're like the youngers. Everyone's like, yeah, man. Like, because like growing up, S Club 7 like were just like, how could you not like them? Because they was just like, they sung these fun songs, and it was at a time where like pop was like at its height and you had all these groups and stuff. So like having S Club Juniors, you're like, well, yeah. Like I remember being at an age where you're just like, these must be like their little brothers or cousins or something. Because
we're all related.
Yeah. Like you don't realize how it works. But like, I think, you know, like when I look back at like music back then as a kid, you couldn't not like it because it was, I don't know, it was just so carefree. Do you know what I mean? Like all the groups were like, they all had their own thing.
Yeah.
You know, whether it was the boy band like a Backstreet Boys, for example, who were like the American pop boys and stuff. Or you had the British version, like Five. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I loved Five.
Five were good, you know. Get on up when you're down. I used to
like E17. Like they
E17,
they lived up the
man.
Road from my uncle, and I thought I was so cool.
Yeah. E17. I never forget when we done a Christmas special for the latest show, and I kept saying, "Can we do a Christmas special to Channel 4?" I was like, "Oh, you don't know." Then let me have one. And then one of the execs was like, "So what? How do we close the show?" I was like, "Listen, we need to get E17. We need to get them in the white puffer jackets. I need the white ice, the dry ice."
Did they do it?
And they done it. Yeah. They done it. I was so excited. Like because you know what was it really fun about when we ever done that show? Because we couldn't get like your big US acts. Like Tom Hanks weren't ever gonna come on the show, and I was always at peace with that. I was like, cool, but I was always like, yeah, but like we can get E17, and it felt better. Do you know what I mean? It felt like getting all these people that I'd ever seen on television that felt so much like, oh my god, E17. Like And I'm genuinely starstruck. And I'm like, right, man, he's 17. Like, and then they performed, and one of them done like a handstand. And I was like, I was like, bro, they still got it. Like,
I was going to say, I'm sure they were just as excited that they were on there.
I was like, man, they still got it, man.